Hey everyone, how are you? We're here at home. I'm going to do a little videoing here at home because what I wanted to do with you is take you through our old computer, and we're going to dig out some old still shots to make up the new book, Stirring Spirits. Now, Stirring Spirits is selling really well. Thank you everyone who's bought a book. We've shipped out to Tennessee, we've shipped out to Oklahoma, we've shipped out to Florida, we've shipped out to Virginia. We're shipping the books out like crazy. It's a pretty cool book. Now, people wonder, well, how did you get into this whole ghost thing? Well, here's the story. Years ago, when we lived in Norcross, Georgia. Wait, I have a picture. Ooh, Norcross, Georgia. Can you see it? It's a railroad town. I don't know if you can see this picture or not. I was teasing about that. But we lived in Norcross, Georgia, an old railroad town. And I was in the middle of doing the research for this old book that came out in 2009 called Remembering Norcross, Nuggets of Nostalgia. I was doing the research on this book, and the town decided that, hey, in October, it's kind of dead here in Norcross. What should we do? Let's bring a ghost tour to town, and that's what they did. And I was hooked up with the producer, Kim Brom, of that early Norcross ghost tour, and we together researched and brought together stories that ended up being reflected in this cool book. It was one Friday the 13th that Will and I actually launched this book. That was a mistake because a rogue thunderstorm struck downtown Norcross August 13th, and that was the night of our book launch, and the power went out in downtown Norcross. Trees came down. Some of my listeners, some of my subscribers who are Norcross residents remember that night. A big tree was struck right next to Woods Animal Hospital. Shout out to Randy and Tammy there at Woods Animal Hospital. But all of those cool things in Norcross, we did tell about in this book, but hey, now we're sharing them here under the Frigga, Trisca, Decaphobia chapter, Friday the 13th. Check it out. Now, the first history that I got involved with in Norcross was baseball history. We talked about baseball before. Ivy Wingo, Roy Carlisle, all the boys from Norcross used to play ball. There's a whole chapter on them in here. There's a picture of them on the back of this book. So we really love Norcross history, and that's where these two books came from. And then later on another book called Norcross Then and Now. It came out in 2012. So we really know our Norcross history. We had a blast over the years of the Norcross Ghost Tour. Let me share with you some of the pictures of those many years that we enjoyed bringing ghost tours to Norcross. During the Norcross years, when I was still learning how to be a good tour guide, not just a mediocre tour guide, but a damn good tour guide. And the joke is, you know, I'm your damn tour guide. Make sure you take all the damn pictures you want and stay on the damn tour, okay? That's a shout out to Chevy Chase. Love that bit. I met a man named Barefoot Bill Pacer. And his dear wife, LaDonna. Bill is a mentor of mine. He told me ways to improve my ghost tours, ways to improve my writing, ways to produce a tour that would be effective and profitable for everyone involved. Thanks, Bill Pacer and LaDonna, for all of your help over the years. They have been mentors and dear friends. They contributed an entire chapter in Stirring Spirits. Stirring Spirits is not just a book of stories that I know, it's a book of lots of people, like my old co-author, Will. Like my friends, Bill and LaDonna. Like one of my previous bosses, Alan Hudson. From Tour St. Augustine in Florida. Where, by the way, July 22nd, if you're in St. Augustine, Florida, come on by 4 Granada Street at Tour St. Augustine. You can take a ghost tour that night, a ghostly experience walking tour that night. And that afternoon from 2 to 5, you can come meet me at the tour company where I will be selling the new book, Stirring Spirits. During these times of being a tour guide, producing ghost stories, writing books, writing about history, my husband Mark and I, we traveled to places like St. Mary, Georgia. In St. Mary, Mark happened to be haunted. That's one of the chapters of the book, The Riverview Hotel. There's a story that has something to do with a key that got bent. Make sure you check out the book for that story. In 2020, during the height of the pandemic, what is there to do but to move? What? Yep, we moved in 2020. Lots of good reasons, 8 grand reasons to move back to Georgia. Moving back to Georgia led me to become a zombie tour guide, a Walking Dead tour guide, where I met people like Greg Nicotero, Norman Reedus, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, Lynn Collins. All of these folks we met during our days in Sonoy. It was a great 2 years touring in Sonoy. Realize if you're on the set, just season 3.
Yeah, already?
Right here. We get this great demographic of fans. We can go from the 90-year-old grandma to the 9-year-old grandson. They just get so attached. Oh, we love Daryl, we hate Peter. What happens in there yet?
Right.
This is something we haven't learned any of the storyline of yet, so this is the near future for that final section. Now, not only the Walking Dead thing that we do there, but we researched and wrote the Spirit Stroll of Sonoy. It's a ghost tour, and I have got some of those great stories that we were able to uncover in Sonoy. They're in the book as well. Including in Sonoy the story of young Marion Holberg. There's a reason why there are chicken footprints on the edge of a well behind the Veranda Inn. And all of those are revealed in the book. Also in Sonoy, we go to the fried green tomatoes home. Well, it's really the McDaniel home, Travis home, but it was used in the movie Fried Green Tomatoes. And then later, it was used in the movie The Conjuring 3. One of the cool things you'll see in Sonoy is the tale of two Sues, I call it, Sue McDaniel and Susie McDaniel. These stories were derived from the Historic Society from a diary that Sue McDaniel left behind. The Our Baby anomaly is a baby buried in the Sonoy City Cemetery. We had some anomalies that we were told about in the diaries of Sue McDaniel, and those are told about in the book as well. Now we also looked for some little hotels. We found Hotel Warm Springs, where the proprietor there, Miss Jerry, says if she sees a ghost, she's going to hand him a paintbrush and put him to work. We also learned about the Bonnie Castle in Grantville, Georgia. In that town is also famous from The Walking Dead, where Morgan famously writes on the brick wall, "Away with you." Now, when you're in the process of writing a book, you go through a lot of changes. Changes to the book cover. There's an image of the first book cover ever used for Stirring Spirits. Here's an image of the second book cover. I actually had a gentleman at a book signing in Lula, Georgia, told me he loved this book cover better than the new book cover. And here it is. Very limited number of books that went out with this cover. If you've got one, leave a message in the comment. Tell me which book cover you like better. But they're both pretty cool. And then we moved on to this cover, which is an image that was made by an artist friend of ours named Joe Welling. His wife Edie and I were both tour guides in Sonoy for The Walking Dead. This was the cover design I had in my head, but didn't know exactly what it looked like until I saw it. Of course, in doing ghost tours and researching history in little towns, we end up in a lot of cemeteries. So I'm going to flash for you guys now a little montage of cemetery images that we've collected over the years. Enjoy. In some of the old Norcross videos, you'll see this poor old shabby looking hat now. It's actually quite a historic hat. Love this hat. Sarah used to wear this as Effie, just still love this hat. But it got rained on so many times, the poor hat is just, this was horsehair. It's just really gone to heck. But we did upgrade to a new hat when we were in Sonoy, thanks to our friend Wendy Osnick. But this is the old hat you might see sometimes when we're doing the old ghost tours. Come out and see me between 2 and 5. Hope to see you there at the Georgia. Ooh, not there. We also learned about the Bonnie Castle in